Week 6 video discussion post. Sorry that it is nearly last minute. This has been one of the hardest weeks I've had in a really long time, but here it is, Film History, created by Emily Clyburn. So what are the different eras in film history? The first one we have is the silent era. The top-grossing silent film was The Birth of a Nation in 1915. But in 1907, there was the first screen adaptation of Ben-Hur. Then we have the German Expression era in the 1920s. This era came to rise. Films such as Nosferatu and Metropolis fit this category. Next is the studio era of the 30s and 40s. It brought in bigger names such as MGM, Paramount, WB, and Fox. Next we have the Italian neorealism. An example in this era would be Bicycle Thieves in 1948. Directed by Vittorio De Riccia, who was a significant filmmaker of this time. Then we have the Golden Age. In the late 1960s, we see the birth of stars such as Katharine and Audrey Hepburn, Humphrey Bogart, Grace Kelly, James Dean, Ingrid Bergman, Clark Gable, and the like. Then we have the New Hollywood era. Some sources say that this era developed in the 50s, but it's commonly known to have lasted into the 80s. In the 60s, Universal Studios brought Spartacus. In the 70s, we see Star Wars. And according to IMDb, the top-grossing film in the 80s was E.T. Last, we have the modern age. We see new technology such as CGI in the Jurassic Park and Matrix films. But trilogies really do begin taking off during the modern age. Planet of the Apes, Jason Bourne movies, Pirates of the Caribbean, pretty much any superhero movie, and even animated movies like Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, and of course, Trolls. The next question is, what are some of the most important films in film history? So starting with Citizen Kane, it introduced innovative methods in cinematography that allowed for new creative possibilities. Breathless was a visual breakthrough, experimenting with jump cuts. Man with the Movie Camera was also considered a breakthrough film in the way that it pushed boundaries. Snow White was the first cartoon film to hold as much value as it did. It won the Academy Honorary Award for introducing an entirely new genre. The American Film Institute lists it as #1 greatest animated film. All right, and to answer this question, who are some of the most influential filmmakers in film history, I went back to the most important films in history. Orson Welles, for instance, directed the Citizen Kane movie. Jean-Luc Godard, who is responsible for Breathless. Dziga Vertov for Man with the Movie Camera. And for Snow White, we have a group of filmmakers. We have William Cottrell, Ben Sharpstein, Wilfred Jackson, Larry Morey, Percy Pierce, and David Hand.